Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another video. My name is Tom. Thanks so much for joining me out here today. I'm out here with the RAV4, and as you might be able to tell, there's something just not quite right with it. Yep, it appears I made a mistake. So this wiper arm is obviously not made for this vehicle. I had purchased a replacement arm for this a couple of weeks ago, and the first rain we had, I tried to use it and I wedged it into the spoiler up here. It's actually pretty well wedged. You cannot do anything with it. The car won't return it back to the normal downward position down here. It's just stuck. So what I need to do is I need to get this off and put this guy on. So the one I put on here was the 12-inch one, and I sort of had to guess on it. And don't ask, I should have measured it, you know, measure once and that sort of thing, or measure twice and buy once or whatever. But in my case, I guessed once and I bought twice. I'm gonna say that that's probably the right length, just judging by, you know, this right here. So we're gonna give it a shot. But unfortunately, I have to use a socket to get the arm off. So let's have a look here. So down here is the mounting apparatus for this. And try to use two hands with this. You pull it off, it just kind of peels like a little, I don't know, I don't want to say peel it because that's probably not the right word to use, but it comes off like that and it just kind of hinges on itself. And then I got a trusty 10 mil, which I'm also guessing is what that bolt is. So, and sure enough it is. So let's break this loose. Okay, got it. Got it loose. There's no washer or anything here, so I'm gonna gently put that up there and then see how this comes off, because it's stuck and I don't want this to break, but wow. I will say that this is on there quite right. Boy, this is one of those nasty tricks in the book that nobody tells you about. I'm debating if I want to pull on that or if I'm going to break something. I'm wondering if it just makes sense to break the 12-inch. Oh. You know what? That might be the easier way to do things. Let me put this nut back on and then see if the car will rehome the wiper. I'm not going to tighten anything, but let's see what it'll do. Okay. Well, that did the trick. Oh man. I guess that was so much more difficult than it really should have been. But let me get this guy off before I forget. So there's this is just one of those generic wipers that you just click in here, and it sits kind of in this mount, and you flip it over and it locks itself onto itself. And this one should be the same, just smaller. Okay. Yeah, I think this is better. This is a much I can only get this in there. There it goes. It would totally help if I put it in the right direction. Okay. It's locked in place. Let me tighten down this nut, and then let's give it a go. Hey, all right. It did the trick. All right. Well, that does it. It was a very simple and easy DIY fix. I don't know if how I did it was the right way to do it, but you saw me try to use the old 1 centimeter here, 10 millimeter, 1 centimeter, get it? I tried to use that to get the arm off, but I just, knowing my luck, yeah, I could have probably done a lot of damage trying to, pull the arm off and try to get this out. I just didn't feel comfortable continuing down that path because I did feel like that window was going to shatter. The little hardware that this stuff, rides on would have just broken and disintegrated, and who knows, a $10 30-second job could have turned into a $300, um, many day job or weeks job, depending on what the part availability is. But let me tell you a little bit how I got here, because that was kind of an interesting story on its own, and it's not really an interesting story more so as it is just, I guess it's the state of the world, maybe in some ways. But anyway, I went to a store, and I'm not going to mention any store names because unless they want to sponsor me, then they'll be named. But as of right now, nobody sponsors this channel, and they shall remain nameless. Yeah. So I went to a retailer late at night, around 10 o'clock at night, and I was in the automotive section, and I went and flipped through their little book of parts that they have. These books are kind of like strapped to the shelf, and you can flip through them and get, wiper replacement parts, batteries, headlights, all sorts of parts. And they just got them broken down by vehicle, uh, make and model and year. And I thought, okay, this can be easy. Went down to Toyota RAV4 2017, and I scrolled across to where the rear wiper was, the rear wiper blade. So I didn't need the whole thing. I could have just replaced the blade itself. But as it turns out, it came with everything. So I was kind of happy about that too. The installation of this, as you saw, was near, just the simplest thing ever. Just flip it on, turn it, and it locks in when you turn it. And then it, works just fine. Somewhere, somehow, along the way, as I was strumming across the page of a 2017 RAV4 part list, my finger went up to 2015. That's where this came from. I bought the one wiper that they had, and it was for 2011 through 2015 RAV4. I guess in 16 they changed to a smaller wiper because they added a spoiler. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. It is what it is. But the point is that, if you go into a store late at night, have your glasses on so that your eyeballs function, because you don't want to end up like me and buy the wrong part and then have to deal with it for, I guess I've been at this for 2 weeks now. And let me explain how that happened. So, that blade, as you saw, it was stuck, and it was the first snowstorm of the year here, which was probably, but this whole thing's been going on for weeks now, and I finally got it fixed. It's so sad. When this blade jammed up into the spoiler, I went back to the store and I said, "Well, okay, I see how where I made the mistake, but that store where I bought this one, they didn't have the 10-inch one, which is what is actually needed. So 10 inches. And so I went to some of the more popular automotive retailers. Again, not going to mention their names. I went to two of them. And I go in there and I park the car and I go inside and walk up to the guy at the desk and I say, "Hey, can you scope me out a wiper blade, a rear wiper blade for a 2017 Toyota RAV4?" And told him 4-cylinder, blah blah blah. And he says, "It appears that we don't have any wipers for this particular model. It looks like they don't make them." And I said, "Oh, that's really interesting." And he says, "Yeah, in fact, I can't see a part number for it at all from the manufacturer. So, are you sure that this vehicle has a wiper blade on the rear?" And I looked at the guy, looked him straight in the eye, and I said, "Yeah, unless I'm losing my head, which very well could be. If you pan over here to the left, see that blue car that's right there outside the window there?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." I said, "Well, that's my 2017 RAV4. And can you tell me what that thing is on the back window?" And he literally looks up and he looks out there and he's like, "Well, I'll be dipped." And I said, "Yes, sir." And I literally looked at him. I said, "Sir, I think every model of RAV4 has had rear wipers. And I think that's just the entire model line since their inception, I guess in the 90s or whenever they came out." Um, yeah, I mean, we had a 98 RAV4 when we lived in California. That was actually my wife's first car when she moved to the States. And that one had a wiper on it too. And actually, that one had a cool, like, fifth door that opened up like a giant bank vault door. We loved it. It was so easy to get stuff in. Never bumped my head on it. But then Toyota decided to put this lift gate on it, and now I slam my head into it every single time. Anyway, I digress. So Mr. Dipped over here, he said, "Yeah, we don't have wiper blades for this vehicle." I said, "Okay, I'll go try the other store." And I went to the other store. Nothing. Same thing. Just much less interactive. It was basically the same conversation. And I finally said, "You know what? I'm just going to go online and I'm going to find it." And I did. And that's where this came from. So this wiper blade has, you can see, this yellow thing is actually the little blade guard that was the new one shipped with. So you can see that this one's obviously not the wrong size. But the part number that seemed to work from this 5 Plus Automotive, which I guess is just uh, something that came out of the People's Republic of China. It says part number is, hang on, I'm looking for it. Oh, here it is. Tango Oscar Romeo 4-10-Alpha. It was actually right on my Facebook. Don't have my glasses. So yeah, 10-inch one. So if you're DIYing this, make sure you get the right part, otherwise you're going to have some interesting conversations with some interesting clerks in interesting stores. Now, I don't know why. I don't know why this isn't listed in the book for parts, but if you go online and you just type in, you know, Toyota RAV4 2017 rear wiper, uh, it'll take you to some links. Now, I will point out that as of probably about a month now, I've been trying my best to support eBay stores. The reason for that is I myself have set up an eBay store that I'm trying to sell some of my hardware, my excess hardware that I brought with me from California, and gonna try to give it a new home. But I understand what the difficulties are from running a successful store online, and it's much easier than these mass-produced Amazon stores that always link to garbage. In the last 6 months, I've probably had 30 or more Amazon returns just because they ship the wrong product, it comes destroyed. You know, they put something this big into a box that's this big, and then they wonder why it exploded inside the box. Or, you know, I used to buy waters and drinks and stuff like that, you know, canned drinks from Amazon because it was simple. And since, I don't know, October or so, it got to the point where it was just not reasonable, and we just kind of gave up on it. It's horrible. It's a horrible experience. It's always wrong, and then they don't want to refund you your money because you can't return it. By the way, if you buy food or drink off Amazon, that's a non-returnable product. So you have to prove to them with all, you know, chain of evidence and custody that the product you bought is actually wrong and it's their fault. And sometimes you can't do that because, well, how do you prove that, you know, a package was opened when it really wasn't or was? And then they say, oh, well, when we shipped it, it was sealed. It became a hassle. Anyway, eBay for the win. I'm glad I didn't have to use my 1 centimeter socket. That's right, 1 centimeter. But could have been a lot worse if I would have continued down the path of disassembling that arm. Anyway, my heater just came on, so this video is about to get really noisy, and I think I'm going to leave it off there. So, on behalf of my Duchess, who's out there enjoying the sunshine, I wish you guys to have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Dutchie, are you getting some sunshine? Are you getting some sunshine? You got your own little deck over here, huh? What are you thinking, huh? Oh, who's your good girl? Who's your good girl? Dutchie's a good girl, yeah. All right, we're going inside? Yeah? All right, come on. Oh.